Emma's voice cracks, facing her CEO in a rainy Seattle alley. You left me to fight alone. Michael, the man she trusted, chose his empire over her heart. From a hilarious LYFT mix-up to a viral video, their bond sparked hope, until class divides and corporate games tore them apart. Can a temp and a tycoon rewrite their story? Will they choose love or duty? Share your city below and dive into their raw, uplifting journey. Emma Johnson's heart pounded as she sprinted through Seattle's rain-slicked streets, clutching a soggy umbrella that was more holes than fabric. She was late. Again, for a critical meeting at Horizon Innovations, where the new CEO was set to make his grand debut. Her phone, her lifeline, had died right after she booked a lift, leaving her stranded and cursing her luck. Come on, she muttered, scanning the curb near Pike Place Market for her ride. A sleek black sedan pulled up, its tinted windows gleaming even in the gray drizzle. Without a second thought, Emma yanked the door open and slid inside, barking, "Go, go! I'm late, and if I miss this meeting, I'm toast." The man behind the wheel, Michael Carter, CEO of Horizon Innovations, turned his head slowly, his sharp jawline and steel gray eyes locked onto her, one eyebrow raised in a mix of confusion and amusement. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, he looked more like a Wall Street titan than a Lyft driver. "Excuse me?" His voice was low, measured, like he was decoding a puzzle. Emma, oblivious, waved a hand. "No time for excuses. Traffic's a nightmare. I get it, but I need to be at Horizon Innovations, like yesterday. Step on it. The new CEO's meeting is today and I'm a temp. One wrong move and I'm out." She shoved her dead phone into her bag, muttering about the $8.00 coffee she'd splurged on at Pike Place Market. $8 for coffee. I'm still tasting the regret. Michael's lips twitched, but he said nothing, easing the car into traffic with the precision of someone who didn't take orders. Emma, still ranting, leaned back, her wet umbrella dripping onto the pristine leather seats. "You're a saint for picking me up. My life's a mess. Late rent, mom's medical bills piling up. I'm working overtime just to keep her meds stocked." Her voice softened, a crack in her bravado. "She raised me alone, tough as nails, but now she's the one needing me." Michael glanced at her, his stoic facade faltering for a split second. He wasn't used to passengers, or anyone, being this raw, this real. Most people tiptoed around him, aware of his power. But Emma, she was a whirlwind, oblivious to who he was. "You talk a lot," he said finally, his tone dry but curious. "Guilty," Emma grinned, undeterred. "You're the strong silent type, huh? Bet you've got stories. Ever had a passenger cry over a breakup or sing karaoke?" She paused, then lifted her pant leg slightly, revealing one sock with pink carnations and another with green stripes. "Check this out. Mismatched socks. Carnations and stripes, my laundry game's as chaotic as my life." She laughed, but it was tinged with exhaustion. At work, the rich kids in my department act like I'm invisible because I didn't go to some fancy college, like my paycheck doesn't matter. Michael's grip on the steering wheel tightened. Her words hit a nerve, stirring memories of his own hard-scrabble past, one he'd buried under boardroom deals and penthouse views. He'd grown up in a group home, clawing his way to the top, but the sting of being less than never fully faded. Still, he kept his face neutral. "You're direct." "Gotta be," Emma shot back. "No one hands you anything when you're from my side of town." She sighed, then perked up as the Horizon Innovations building loomed ahead. "There, drop me at the side entrance, please. Less chance of anyone seeing this hot mess." She gestured to her damp hair and rumpled blouse. "Thanks, man. You're a lifesaver. 5 stars as soon as I charge my phone." Michael paused to the curb, his expression unreadable. "You're welcome," he said, his voice softer than he intended. Emma flashed a grin, grabbed her bag and bolted out, unaware she'd just ordered around the most powerful man in the company. As she vanished into the building, Michael allowed himself a rare chuckle, shaking his head. Who is this woman? Inside, Emma hustled through the lobby, her sneakers squeaking on the marble floor. A security guard blocked her path, his eyes narrowing. "ID." You don't look like you work here." His tone was sharp, laced with judgment. Emma's stomach twisted. She'd faced this before, the assumption she didn't belong because of her thrift store clothes and lack of polish. "I'm a temp in the project department," she said, fishing out her badge with trembling hands. "Emma Johnson." The guard scrutinized her ID longer than necessary before waving her through. "Move it," he grunted. Emma bit her lip, swallowing the urge to snap back. She couldn't afford to make a scene, not when her job was her lifeline. She slipped into the elevator, her mind racing. The meeting was about to start, and she was already on thin ice as a temp. As the doors opened to her floor, her coworker Sarah rushed over, eyes wide. "Emma, you're cutting it close. The new CEO's here and he's intense, like fired someone for a typo intense." "Great," Emma groaned, smoothing her hair. "Just what I need." She followed Sarah to the conference room, squeezing into the back row as the door opened. A hush fell over the crowd. Michael Carter strode in, his presence commanding, his suit impeccable. Emma's jaw dropped. The Lyft driver she'd rambled to was the CEO. Her folder slipped from her hands, hitting the floor with a thud. Michael's gaze swept the room, landing on her. A faint smirk curled his lips. "Good morning," he said, his voice smooth but pointed. "I trust no one got lost getting here or mistook me for their driver." A ripple of laughter spread, but Emma froze, her face burning. This was going to be a disaster, or the start of something she never saw coming. Emma Johnson stood frozen in the conference room, her pulse hammering as Michael Carter's smirk lingered on her. The CEO of Horizon Innovations, the man she'd mistaken for a Lyft driver, now held her career in his hands. Her co-worker's laughter stung, but Michael's gray eyes held a glint of something else. Curiosity, maybe even amusement? "Let's begin," he said, his voice slicing through the murmurs. As he outlined his vision for the company, Emma sank into her chair, wishing she could vanish. She'd rambled about mismatched socks and overpriced coffee to the most powerful man in the room. Her temp job was as good as gone. The meeting dragged on, with Michael's sharp questions exposing gaps in the project department's work. Emma kept her head down, scribbling notes to avoid his gaze. When it ended, Sarah, her closest ally at Horizon, nudged her. "You okay? You look like you saw a ghost." "Worse," Emma whispered. "I yelled at the CEO to step on it like he was my personal chauffeur. I'm done for." She clutched her folder, her palms sweaty. "I can't lose this job, Sarah. Mom's bills are drowning me." Sarah's eyes softened. "You're tougher than you think. Just keep your head up." But as they filed out, a coworker, Tyler, smirked at Emma. "Nice move ordering the boss around. Bet you're out by Friday." His polished loafers and smug grin screamed privilege, the kind Emma had never known. She bit her tongue, her cheeks burning. Back at her desk, Emma tried to focus, but her mind replayed the car ride, her careless chatter, Michael's quiet intensity. She was bracing for a pink slip when an email from Michael's assistant pinged her inbox. "Report to the CEO's office? Now." Her stomach dropped. "This is it," she muttered, grabbing her badge. Sarah gave her a thumbs up, but Emma felt like she was marching to her doom. Michael's office overlooked Puget Sound, its floor-to-ceiling windows framing a world Emma could only dream of. He sat behind a sleek desk, his suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up. "Miss Johnson," he said, not looking up from his tablet. "Sit." Emma perched on the edge of a chair, her hands clasped tight. "Sir, about this morning. I'm so sorry. My phone died. I was late. I thought—" He raised a hand, cutting her off. "I'm not here to fire you." His eyes met hers, sharp but not unkind. "I need someone to audit the project department's data storage system. It's a mess, and we're hemorrhaging efficiency. You're on it." Emma blinked. "Me, but I'm just a temp. I don't have the experience." "You're direct, you notice details, and you're not afraid to speak up," Michael said, leaning back. "That's enough for now. Start today. Report to me by end of week." He returned to his tablet, dismissing her without another word. Stunned, Emma stumbled back to her desk. Sarah pounced. "What happened? Are you fired?" "No. Emma said, still processing. He gave me a project, a big one. I'm supposed to fix their data system. Sarah's jaw dropped. The CEO picked you? That's huge! Or a trap, Emma muttered. She dove into the task, poring over spreadsheets and file logs late into the night. The system was a disaster. Mislabeled folders, duplicated entries, and a financial report with numbers that didn't add up. Her eyes burned, but she kept going, driven by a mix of fear and determination. At midnight, alone in the office, she found it. A $200,000 0 cents discrepancy in the quarterly budget. Buried in a misfiled expense sheet, fixing it could save the company a major loss. Exhausted, Emma leaned back, her phone buzzing. It was her mom, her voice frail. The hospital sent another bill. I'm so sorry to burden you. Emma's throat tightened. You're not a burden, Mom. I'll handle it. She hung up, tears spilling over. I wanted to be more than this, she whispered to Sarah, who'd stayed late to keep her company. I dreamed of college, studying engineering, but life had other plans. Sarah squeezed her hand. You're still that dreamer. You're proving it right now. The next day, Emma presented her findings to the project team. Tyler, the smug co-worker, scoffed. A temp found this? Doubt it. He claimed he'd spotted the error first, pitching it to the manager as his own. Emma's blood boiled. She'd worked through the night, and now this entitled jerk was stealing her win. At the debrief with Michael, Tyler took center stage, spinning a tale of his discovery. Emma clenched her fists, ready to stay silent. Temps didn't make waves, but something snapped. That's not true, she said, her voice steady. I found the discrepancy at 11:47 p.m. last night. In file Q3 expenses, line 472. Check the logs. The room went quiet. Tyler's face reddened. Michael's gaze flicked between them, then to his laptop. She's right, he said, pulling up the audit trail. Miss Johnson's name is on the edit. He looked at her, a spark of respect in his eyes. Well done. Tyler mumbled an excuse, but Emma felt a surge of pride. Michael approached her after. You could have let me handle that. Why speak up? Because I earned it, Emma said, meeting his gaze. I'm not invisible. Michael nodded, a faint smile breaking through. No, you're not. As she left, Emma felt his eyes on her, and for the first time she sensed a shift. He wasn't just her boss. He was starting to see her. But in a company built on wealth and status, where temps were disposable and women like her were underestimated, Emma knew this was only the beginning of her fight. Emma Johnson's newfound confidence from exposing Tyler's lie carried her through the next few days at Horizon Innovations, but it didn't shield her from the whispers. Co-workers like Tyler shot her sidelong glances, muttering teacher's pet under their breath. Emma ignored them, focusing on her work, but the weight of their judgment pressed harder each day. She was a temp, an outsider in their polished world, and her moment of triumph only made her a bigger target. Still, Michael Carter's quiet nod of respect lingered in her mind, a small spark in the grind of her life. That spark dimmed when her phone buzzed during a break. It was the hospital. Her mom had collapsed and was rushed to the ER. We need you here, the nurse said. Emma's chest tightened. She wanted to run to her mom's side, but the company's annual gala at the Space Needle was hours away, and missing it could cost her the job she desperately needed. I'll be there soon, she lied, hanging up. Her hands shook as she texted Sarah, Mom's in the hospital. I have to go to this stupid event. What do I do? Sarah's reply was instant. Go to the gala. You've fought too hard to lose this. Your mom would want you to. Emma swallowed her tears, slipping into a thrift store dress that felt painfully out of place for the Space Needle's glitz. At the gala, the city's elite mingled under chandeliers, their laughter echoing against the backdrop of Seattle's twinkling skyline. Emma hovered near the edge, clutching a glass of water, her mind with her mom. A man with a microphone and a press badge approached. You're with Horizon, right? I'm from Seattle Business Weekly. Quick interview for our feature on the new CEO? Emma froze. She was no bun, just a temp. But the reporter was already signaling his cameraman. Name? Emma Johnson, she said, her voice unsteady. Administrative support. Perfect. But tell me about Michael Carter. What's it like working for him? Emma's thoughts raced. She pictured Michael's stern face softening in the car, his rare smile when she called him out. He's tough, she said, finding her rhythm, like a robot programmed for perfection. But he's got a heart. Buried deep, maybe, but it's there. He's pushing us to be better, and the company's alive in a way it wasn't before. Her honesty spilled out, laced with humor. He probably drinks more coffee than a barista, but he listens. That's rare. The reporter grinned. Love that. Any standout changes under him? He's making us real, Emma said. Not just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's messy, but it's working. The interview ended abruptly as the reporter rushed off, leaving Emma dazed. She hadn't meant to say so much. By morning, the video was everywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, even Horizon's internal newsletter. Titled Temp Tells All, the Human Side of Horizon's CEO, it racked up thousands of views. Emma's quip about Michael being a robot who smiles went viral, and Horizon's marketing team seized the moment, naming her the face of their Real People, Real Results campaign. But the spotlight wasn't kind. Tyler and his clique sneered, calling her a publicity stunt. She's just a temp, one said loudly. Think she's a star now. Emma's pride soured into dread. She'd only been honest, and now she was a punching bag. Michael called her to his office. "You've seen the video," he said, his tone unreadable. Emma braced for a lecture, but he leaned forward. "It's good. The board loves it. We're getting new investors because of you." He paused, his eyes searching hers. "I need a favor. There's an investor dinner tomorrow. One guest, Ms. Langley, is persistent. I need you there to keep things professional." Emma raised an eyebrow. "You mean as a human shield?" He smirked. "Exactly. You're quick on your feet. Can you handle it?" She nodded, hiding her worry. Her mom was still in the hospital, but she couldn't say no. At the dinner, held in a private room at the Space Needle, Ms. Langley, dripping in diamonds, zeroed in on Emma's simple dress. "Charming," she said, her smile venomous. "Did you borrow that from a thrift shop?" The table went silent. Emma's face burned, but she forced a laugh. "Yup. $10 in a dream. Beat spending a fortune to impress people who don't matter." Ms. Langley's eyes narrowed, but Michael coughed, hiding a grin. "Emma's our rising star," he said smoothly. "Her insights are why we're here." Throughout the night, Emma deflected Langley's advances on Michael with witty interruptions, spilled wine, urgent calls from the office, earning his quiet admiration. As they left, he caught her arm. "You didn't tell me about your mom," he said softly. "I heard from Sarah. Why didn't you skip this?" Emma's throat tightened. "I couldn't risk my job, not now." She looked away, her voice breaking. "She's all I have." Michael's jaw clenched, his usual composure cracking. "You're not alone," he said, his voice low. "Not anymore." For a moment their eyes locked, and Emma felt a shift, a bridge forming between her world and his. But with her mom's life on the line, and the company's elite circling, she wondered if that bridge could hold. Emma Johnson walked into Horizon Innovations with a lighter step, the memory of Michael Carter's words, "You're not alone," warming her despite the chill of Seattle's streets. Her mom was stable now, though the hospital bills loomed like a storm cloud. The viral video had made Emma a reluctant star, but it was Michael's quiet support at the investor dinner that lingered most. Their banter, his rare smiles, felt like a secret they shared, yet she knew better than to trust it. Men like Michael, powerful, untouchable, didn't cross the divide to her world. Still, a small part of her hoped. That hope flickered when she found Michael slumped at his desk, his face pale, a tissue crumpled in his hand. "You look like death," Emma blurted, then winced. "Sorry, sir." He coughed, his voice hoarse. "I'm fine, just strategic congestion." His attempt at humor fell flat, his eyes red-rimmed. Emma raised an eyebrow. "Yeah, right, stay there." She dashed to the office kitchen, returning with ginger tea and a thermos of chicken soup she'd made for her mom. "Drink this, eat later, no arguments." Michael stared at the thermos, bemused. You're bossing me around again. Someone has to, she shot back, sitting across from him. I've been through this with Mom. Flu season, hospital stays. She taught me how to fight a virus with soup and stubbornness. Her voice softened, memories of late-night vigils surfacing. Those were the hardest days, just me and her, against the world. Michael's gaze softened. He sipped the tea, grimacing. This tastes like punishment. Good, means it's working. Emma grinned, but her heart tugged as she watched him. He was human, not the invincible CEO everyone feared. Why are you even here? Most bosses would zoom from bed. He set the cup down, his voice low. No one's waiting for me at home. He hesitated, then added, I grew up in a group home. No family, no safety net. Work's all I've got. Emma's breath caught. She'd assumed he was born into wealth, not forged by struggle like her. That's why you're so... She gestured vaguely. You, always in control. Until you showed up, he said, a faint smile breaking through. You're chaos, Emma, the good kind. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the office felt like the only place in the world. That moment carried them to the company's gala at Chihuly Garden, where glass sculptures glowed like frozen flames. Emma, in a borrowed dress, felt out of place among the elite, but Michael's presence steadied her. When a slow song played, he offered his hand. Dance with me. I'm terrible at this, she warned, but she took his hand. They swayed, awkward at first, then found a rhythm. His hand on her waist felt warm, grounding. You're breaking protocol, sir, she teased. You broke it first, he murmured. You make me lose control, Emma. I don't know how to handle that. His voice was raw, unguarded, and her heart raced. The world narrowed to just them, the glass around them fragile as their connection. But the next day, Michael was a ghost. He avoided her desk, his emails curt and formal. Emma's hope curdled into confusion. Had she misread him? At a team meeting, he barely glanced her way, his face a mask. Sarah noticed. What's with him? He's back to robot mode. Emma shrugged, hiding her hurt. Guess the dance was a fluke. But the rejection stung, sharp and personal. The truth hit when Emma overheard a conversation in the break room. A board member's voice carried, Carter's too close to that temp. Investors won't trust a CEO who fraternizes with the help. The words cut deep, echoing the sneers she'd faced all her life. She was the help, a nobody in their eyes. Michael's distance wasn't personal, it was survival. Her resolve hardened when she learned a coworker, Maria, was fired for a mistake Tyler had pinned on her. Maria, a single mom like Emma's, was devastated. Emma confronted their manager, her voice steady. Maria didn't mess up, Tyler did. Check the project logs. The manager scoffed, warning her to know her place. But Emma stood firm. If I don't stand up for her, I'm no better than the people who look down on me. Sarah hugged her after. You're a badass, but you just made enemies. Let them come, Emma said, though her stomach twisted. She'd risked her job, but Maria's tearful gratitude made it worth it. That night, Emma found a note slipped under her keyboard. I'm sorry. Board pressure. You deserve better. Her heart ached. Michael was pulling away to protect his empire, but it felt like he was abandoning her. As she left the office, Chihuly's glass sculptures flashed in her mind. Beautiful, but so easily shattered. Emma and Michael had built something real, but the world they lived in was determined to break it. She clutched the note, torn between anger and longing, wondering if their connection could survive the weight of who they were supposed to be. Emma Johnson clutched Michael Carter's note, its words searing into her. I'm sorry. Board pressure. You deserve better. The apology felt like a blade, cutting deeper because it was true. She did deserve better than his silence, his retreat behind the CEO mask. For days, she'd carried the hurt, replaying their dance at Chihuly Garden, the way his voice had cracked when he admitted she unraveled him. Now, that vulnerability was gone, replaced by cold distance. Emma wasn't just angry. She was done waiting for him to choose her over his empire. She'd fought too hard to be invisible again. At Horizon Innovations, Emma threw herself into work, her efficiency a shield against the whispers. Tyler and his clique still sneered, but she ignored them, her focus razor sharp. Sarah noticed the change. "You're a machine," she said, half admiring, half worried. "What's driving you?" Emma hesitated, then pulled out Michael's note. "This. He thinks he's protecting me by shutting me out. I don't need his protection. I need him to be real." Her voice shook, but her resolve held. "I'm not chasing him anymore. I'm choosing me." That choice led her to a community center in South Seattle, a modest brick building far from the gleaming towers of downtown. Emma had heard about their program for low-income workers. Free skill workshops to boost job prospects. On impulse, she volunteered to teach a class on workplace tech, despite the risk. Taking time away from Horizon could jeopardize her temp contract, but Emma couldn't ignore the pull to give back. "Mom always said you lift others when you're down," she told Sarah. This is for her too. The center buzzed with life. Worn chairs, flickering lights, and people who reminded Emma of her own struggles. Her first class was a mix of single parents, immigrants, and laid-off workers, their faces etched with hope and exhaustion. Emma shared her story, her voice steady but raw. "I'm a temp, barely scraping by. I've been called less than because I didn't go to college, because I'm from the wrong side of town. But I'm here, and you can be too." A young woman, Lila, raised her hand, her voice trembling. "You're like me. I got fired for speaking up. You're the first person who makes me believe I can try again." Lila's eyes stung. "You will try again," she said, choking up. "We all will." Lila's words hit like a wave, reminding Emma why she kept fighting. As the class ended, she glanced at the doorway and froze. Michael stood there, his suit stark against the center's faded walls, watching her with an intensity that stole her breath. She hadn't seen him since the note, and his presence here felt like a violation of her new resolve. Outside, under a dim streetlight, Emma confronted him. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was sharp, her arms crossed. "You don't get to ghost me, then show up like nothing happened." Michael's jaw tightened. "I came to see your class. Sarah told me." He stepped closer, his voice low. "I was wrong, Emma. The board pressured me. Said you'd hurt the company's image. I thought keeping my distance would protect you. But it was cowardice." Emma's anger flared. "Protect me? I've been protecting myself my whole life. I needed you to stand with me, not hide behind some corporate excuse." Her voice broke. "You made me feel like I mattered, then you took it away." Michael's eyes darkened with regret. "You do matter, more than you know. I've been running from that because..." He exhaled, raw. "I've never let anyone in. You're the first, and it terrifies me." Emma wanted to stay angry, but his honesty disarmed her. Still, she stepped back. "I can't keep waiting for you to figure it out. I'm building something here, something bigger than us." She turned to leave, but his voice stopped her. "I want to help," he said. "Your project, the center. Let me be part of it." She faced him, skeptical. "Why? So you can look good for the board?" "No," he said fiercely. "Because you're right. It's bigger than us." Days later, at Horizon's all-staff meeting, Michael took the stage, his presence commanding but different, less guarded. Emma sat in the back, her heart pounding. He looked directly at her. "I owe someone an apology," he said, his voice clear. "Emma Johnson showed me what courage looks like. She's fought for others, for fairness, while I let fear hold me back. I'm sorry, Emma. And I'm all in, for you, for this company, for what's right." The room erupted in murmurs. Emma's cheeks burned, but a weight lifted. Michael joined her class the next week, rolling up his sleeves to teach resume skills alongside her. Lila and the others shared stories of workplace discrimination, being overlooked for promotions, mocked for accents, or fired for minor errors. Their pain mirrored Emma's, fueling her fire. As Michael listened, his face softened, and Emma saw a man unlearning the walls he'd built. In the center's cramped hallway, he caught her alone. "You're changing lives," he said, "including mine." Emma met his gaze, her heart torn. This isn't about us, Michael. It's about them. But as she walked away, she felt the pull of what they could be, if they could choose courage over fear. Emma Johnson stood in the heart of Pike Place Market, the hum of vendors and tourists a vibrant pulse around her. The air smelled of fresh fish and roasted coffee, but her focus was on the small stage ahead, where she and Michael Carter were about to launch the Clara Johnson Fund, named for her mother. It wasn't a scholarship or a corporate handout. It was a lifeline for Seattle's working poor, offering job training, childcare, and emergency aid. Emma's hands trembled as she adjusted her note cards. This was her dream, her fight, but it was also a risk. The world didn't always cheer for people like her. Michael stood beside her, his usual suit traded for a simple blazer, his presence steady but unassuming. Since his public apology, he'd thrown himself into her community center classes, listening to stories of workplace injustice with a quiet intensity that surprised her. They hadn't defined what they were, friends, partners, something more, but their shared purpose felt stronger than any label. "Ready?" he asked, his voice soft. Emma nodded, though her heart raced. "As I'll ever be." She stepped to the microphone, facing a crowd of workers, activists, and skeptical reporters. "My mom, Clara, taught me that dignity isn't handed out, it's earned," she began, her voice clear. "She worked double shifts, raised me alone, and never complained. This fund is for people like her, people told they're not enough. We're here to say you are." Her eyes stung as she spoke, Lila's face in the crowd grounding her. Equality isn't a buzzword. It's showing up, fighting for each other every day. The crowd clapped, but murmurs rippled. A reporter called out, "Is this just Horizon's PR stunt?" The question stung, echoing Tyler's sneers and the board's warnings. Emma's grip tightened on the mic. "This isn't about PR. It's about people who've been invisible too long. Come to our classes, meet our workers, see for yourself." Her defiance sparked cheers, and Michael's proud nod warmed her. Backstage, Sarah handed Emma an envelope. "From your mom. She insisted I give it to you now." Emma's throat tightened. She slipped away to a quiet corner, opening the letter with trembling hands. You're my hero," it read in Clara's shaky script. "You didn't give up. Not on me, not on your heart. I'm so proud." Tears spilled over, pride and grief mixing. Clara was still weak, but her words were a gift, a reminder of why Emma fought. Michael found her, his eyes soft. "You okay?" She nodded, wiping her face. He took her hand, his touch gentle but sure. "What you did out there, it's bigger than us." "I'm all in, Emma. Not just for the fund, for you." Her heart skipped, but she held his gaze. "I feel it too," she admitted, her voice raw. "But us, it can't just be about feelings. We've got work to do for them." She nodded toward the crowd, where Lila and others lingered, hopeful. "Can we do both? Build this and figure us out?" Michael's smile was quiet, certain. "We can try. Together." He squeezed her hand, a promise without words. The event drew praise, but online critics sneered. Corporate charity, Carter's buying goodwill. Emma and Michael ignored the noise, doubling down. They expanded classes, secured grants, and sat with workers who shared stories of being underpaid or overlooked. Each story chipped at Michael's old worldview, while Emma found strength in their shared mission. Their connection deepened, not in grand gestures, but in late-night planning sessions, shared coffee, and moments when their hands brushed and lingered. As the event wound down, they stood by the market's edge, looking out at Elliott Bay. The water shimmered under the city's glow, a quiet contrast to the day's chaos. "This is just the start," Emma said, her voice steady but hopeful. "We're going to mess up, Michael. The world's not kind to people trying to change it." He turned to her, his eyes fierce. "Let it try to stop us. I'm not going anywhere." His hand found hers again, and they stood there, not as CEO and temp, but as two people choosing a harder, brighter path. Emma and Michael's story hits hard because it's not just about love. It's about choosing to fight for what's right even when the world pushes back. I admire Emma's grit, her refusal to stay small despite a system stacked against her. Michael's growth, shedding his corporate armor, reminds us change is possible, but only if we're brave enough to face our flaws. Their choice to prioritize community over romance feels real, messy, and hopeful, though I wonder if they'll ever fully bridge their worlds. What do you think? Can love and purpose coexist in a divided society? Should they have chased a happier, simpler ending? Share your city and thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take. Thanks for watching this journey with us. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join our channel for more stories that spark your heart and mind. Let's keep the conversation going.